Have you ever walked in a shadow? I'm sure you probably have, haven't you? And you you probably actually didn't take notice that you actually did walk in a shadow, but for a lot of the time we actually do it all the time. That we walk in shadows. What about filtered light? Light that has been diffused and filtered as it has sort of passed through the clouds. Again, yes, we've probably all done that. We don't notice it because we are used to it's commonplace in the norm. And taking this metaphor a little further, we can all live with a certain amount of shadows affecting our lives. Now, what I'm talking about are the shadows from the past. My name's Barry, and today I'd just like to talk a little bit about shadows and how it relates to our mental health. And, uh, yeah, I know an adult woman, but she can still hear the voice of her father berating her. Perhaps you've had that circumstance. Or what about the man who never really knew the fullness of a mother's love as it was intended to be, and now the shadow invites him online? They and we grow used to this ambience of diffused light. It's all we have ever known, isn't it? And sure, at times we get a glimpse of sunlight, of something different, but it's so different that we don't know what to do with it. And so we scurry back into the shadow where it's safe, normal, and familiar. There's the Beatles sang a song, didn't they? There's a shadow hanging over me. And there's this rock solid belief in the power of yesterday. At the moment, here in Auckland, New Zealand, I'm pruning fruit trees. And one of the trees I'm pruning is an apple tree, but it's sort of on a lean. Well, all the top branches are sort of like on a lean, not from the wind or from being hit by some object, but because it's hungry for light. Right above it is the branches of a large gum tree. And this larger tree sort of casts its shadow over the apple tree while it's growing. And the tree compensates to seek out the light. Now, I could quite easily cut down the gum tree. It'd be quite a job, but I could cut it down at the base, and it most likely would fall down and crash onto the apple tree and destroy it. Instead, I think I would probably better to get a cherry picker, one of those machines that go up and you can steer it all around. And I've worked with one of those, and they're really fun. But it would be easier and safer to get a cherry picker up and just to go and chop, chop, chop into sections and just let them drop down bit by bit by bit. And I've done this sort of thing. It's kind of dangerous, but it's so rewarding at the end of the day when you've done the job and there is the darkness is gone. There's just lots more light flooding into the garden. The cause of the problem shadow will only be seen when we look at it and what's actually causing the shadow. Look, I can look at that apple tree all day long and not solve the problem. It's only when I turn my gaze and see what might be shadowing it will I come to an understanding. When we come to experience the full light, when we turn and see that which has had its shadow on us, it can be like a gum tree has landed on us. For some of us, that's what's actually needed. A deeply religious man, Saul, was one of those who had a light-shattering moment. And here's the passage from Acts. All this time, Saul was breathing down the necks of the master's disciples, out for the kill. He went to the chief priest and got arrest warrants to take to the meeting places in Damascus, so that if he found anyone there belonging to the way, whether men or women, he could arrest them and bring them to Jerusalem. He set off. When he got to the outskirts of Damascus, he was suddenly dazed by a bright flash of light. A gum tree fell on him. As he fell to the ground, he heard a voice. Saul, Saul, why are you out to get me? He said, who are you, master? I am Jesus, the one you're hunting down. I want you to get up and enter the city. In the city, you'll be told what to do next. His companions stood there dumbstruck. They could hear the sound but couldn't see anyone, while Saul, picking himself off the ground, found himself stone blind. They had to take him by the hand and lead him into Damascus. He continued blind for 3 days. He ate nothing, drank nothing. You see, Saul thought he had been walking in the light, that he had been doing what God would have wanted him to do. Yet he was in the darkest of shadows, the shadow of religiosity, black and white, rules and regulations, religion, self-righteousness. It's awful stuff. What casts its shadow on you? And this is important work, examining the shadows that are still haunting over you today. We all have them, and it requires a turning and looking up and back. What is casting that shadow? Is it the shadows of others long gone before? Generational shadows passed down from generation to generation. Maybe it was a parent, a family member that hurt you. They may not even be aware of the infraction. Dave Riddell says that children are excellent recorders of their experiences, but poor interpreters. Perhaps it's a shadow of something you've done and you feel shame, guilt, grief, and lost. You've been warped by the shadow. You're stretching out and seeking light, but the shadow remains. Isn't it time to make things new? I believe that God is on a love mission where they want to make all things new. Revelation 21 verse 5 says, and he who was seated on the throne said, behold, I'm making all things new. And all things means us. Paul found this newness. A gum tree had to fall on him to make him wake up to God's presence. But for some of us, that's what's needed. Better still to cut the gum tree down branch by branch, to slowly dissect the object, casting the shadow, and allow the light to flood in. So where do we go to from here? Well, I think number one is that we ask God to reveal what is casting a shadow. Jesus said these words about the Spirit. The Spirit shows what is true and will come and guide you into full truth. The Spirit doesn't speak on his own. He will tell you what he has heard from me, and he will let you know what is going to happen. Second thing is to own the shadow. Hey, it's your shadow that's on you, so you need to take responsibility for it. Avoidance won't shift the shadow. Number three, ask God for help in removing what is causing the shadow. Look, imagine that huge gum tree and the enormity of the problem. You can't do it by yourself. We need someone larger and greater than ourselves. Larry Crabb says that supernatural goals need supernatural resources, and I believe that. Number four, find others to help you dismantle the tree piece by piece. This might most likely be a journey of a lifetime, removing branches one at a time, safely and securely, allowing the new light to flood in. We need to find someone to help us with that. Number five, look for the new light and enjoy its warmth. Look, as each small limb falls, there is a new light that dances around your life. You can go straight, produce new fruit, and be enjoyed by others. You are the one that has done the work and is now full of fruit. Look, we all have shadows that limit the light reaching us. Surely, we can pray and ask God to help remove the object that is a full and receive a full awareness of God's presence. Hey, mental health is understanding the shadows we are living under and then begin the process of removing the branches that hide the light. Here's some quotes for you to consider. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. Those by James Baldwin. Terence Real says that those who do not turn to face their pain are prone to impose it. That's pretty serious, isn't it? And Philip Yancey says, redeemed pain is more impressive to me than removed pain. Some questions. What has been a shadow that has seemingly clung onto you? What would it be like, that's number one, what would it be like to have some of those shadows removed and have more light enter your life? And number three, what are the experiences in your life that you might have recorded quite well but interpreted poorly? What would Holy Spirit want you to know as truth? Are you open to another interpretation? Hey, I hope you found this helpful. And if you haven't already, I'd like you to come over to my website, turningthepage.co.nz, and I give away a free little book here, 4 spiritual exercises from the Bible that will improve your mental health. And these are things that might just help you with the things that are causing a shadow over your life. And I just pray that what I've shared with you today would be really helpful to you. If you want to email me, it's barry@turningthepage.co.nz. And just another big shout out and thank you to all those people who regularly give like $1 a month into helping me put together all this sort of thing. And just pray that you might start to be able to identify those gum trees in your life that are causing shadows over you that you need to face and to work through. And if you would like to talk to me about that and email me, I really would love to hear about those shadows. Until next week, may you have a great week. Thanks. Bye.